is my light, my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. And whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked, even my enemy, my faith and trust I put all in thee. Believe you got the world in your hand. You bless me, Lord, I know I can stand. Show me the way, Lord.
I also want to say to the people that are watching us live on internet, good morning. And as usual, it is good to stand before you on the Lord's Sabbath day. You know, I emphasize that is because you have people say that I just went in my pocket and found out that I got some money missing. And I remember where the money is in my blue jeans. Don't push them in the washing machine. When you get to be my age, you have to talk when it come on your mind. So they're in my blue jeans pocket. Okay. So, see, when you're my age, everything has to be where it's supposed to be. I discovered a lesson that I'm going to give last week, that I skipped it for some reason, and somebody had to mention it, and I looked and I haven't done it in 13 years. That's why don't be asked, don't make no requests for me, because when I miss something, just like anybody else, 70 something, you miss something. But we're going to get right to the lesson, sisters and brothers. But like I was about to say, the reason I stress this, the Lord's Sabbath day, is because nowadays people tell you that tomorrow is the Christian Sabbath day. I ask people, will you go into the Bible and read that to me? It is strange that Jesus, as his custom was, he went into the synagogues on the Sabbath day. Paul's custom was, he went into the synagogues and reasoned with the Jews on the Sabbath day. He also taught the Jews and the Gentiles on the Sabbath day, which is the 7th day of the week, sisters and brothers. And that just didn't stop with the Sabbath day. It was all over the board. It's just like right now, you ask the average person, why are you in church and what do you expect to get for going to church or serving God? Average person wouldn't even know, sisters and brothers. Like I asked a young Hebrew brother on the phone yesterday. He talking, kicking against this, kicking. I said, look here, man, tell me. You said we chose them. Of course, we chose them. I said, I agree with you. But we was chosen to do what? End the conversation. When somebody walk up to you and say you was chosen, first thing you will ask them is, for what? But everybody have their own axe to grind when it comes to the Word of God. Everybody have their doctrine. But we here, sisters and brothers, we read the book. Now, when somebody asks you, what is the Lord going to do? What you going to do for serving the God of the creation? It won't tell you because they don't know. Because everybody thinking that God is just going to take you up off the earth and take you to heaven. You're going to get raptured off. And I always ask the question, if the Lord is going to rapture you, and as soon as the dead die, they go to heaven, I guess he ain't going to rapture nobody but the living people. Because the dead are already there. Just think about it, sisters and brothers. Everything is upside down, like the Lord said in Isaiah. You turn everything upside down. Well, we're going to find out today what's going to happen with the people that find themselves serving the Lord right now. Because the people that serve the Lord right now and get this thing right now, you will not have to stand in the judgment. Everybody don't, and most people don't understand that. Everybody is not going to stand in the judgment. Somebody is going to do the judge. Jesus is not the only one that's going to judge. We're going to find that out. So that's why the Lord called me to put this together, because people do not know what the Lord promises them. I'm going to give you a major promise here. The title of this lesson is Power Over the Nations. power over the nations. Let you know, sisters and brothers, that the Lord is going to run this thing. He is not going to steal nobody off the earth. He is God. He can go wherever he want to, do whatever he wanted, to whom he want to do it. And can't nobody stop it. It's all that simple. And where he want to be is where he will be. And the ones that find themselves serving him the way he want to be served, he told you where you're going to be and what you're going to be doing. So let's look at this. We're going to go into Revelation, the 12th chapter. We're going to find out something about Jesus real quick. Because nobody pays attention to what's going on. Revelation, the 12th chapter. We're going to start at verse 1. You know, most people go to church all their lives and don't even deal with Revelation. Gentleman told me, a minister told me years ago that there are two people that deals with Revelation, a wise man or a fool. I didn't answer that because I didn't want to sound pompous. Whatever you say. Here in Revelation, sisters and brothers, it talks about a woman, and this woman is Israel. Physically, and also you're going to have some strangers among Israel that are not of the nation of Israel, which is spiritual. But that's not what we're going here for. Because you can go to Genesis, the 37th chapter, and you'll find out that this woman represents Israel. 12:1, go ahead.
And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet.
Go ahead.
And upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
Now, the sun stands for Jacob, the father of Israel, and the moon stands for the mother, and the 12 stars stand for the 12 sons, which became the 12 tribes of Israel. You can go and confirm that on your own at another time in the 37th chapter of Exodus. We like to prove all things. But go ahead and read.
And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven.
Go ahead.
And behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven.
Go ahead.
And did his cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born.
Now, this woman was suffering in pain. She was laboring in pain to bring forth. This woman Israel going to bring forth twice, but first thing she had to bring forth a man child. And say, the dragon stood before her. But the dragon, Satan the devil, is the dragon. He is a cherub angel. Cherub angels have 4 faces, 6 wings, and calf feet. So why is it that Satan look like this? Is because Satan have to come through you through people. And this, what we see here, is the Gentile dynasty from Nebuchadnezzar until the last man to rule the European Economic Community. And so this represents the entire Gentile dynasty, starting from Nebuchadnezzar. That's what this dragon, when you see him, because it's 7 heads and 10 horns. We're going to see a little of that before we get out of here. But he stood before the woman to devour her child as soon as it was born. Go ahead.
And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with the rod of iron.
Now this is what everybody don't pay attention about, this man-child. She brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with the rod of iron. If you're going to rule all nations with the rod of iron, first thing is, you got to be among them to rule them, and the rod of iron, you ain't going to take no mess. Person said to me yesterday, well, you know, we was taught that Christ is king over the whole earth already. I said, if that's the case, then why is it we have killed, steal, committing the murder, committing adultery, homosexuality, everything that the Bible said don't do? He's a pretty weak king. But the last time I remember when Pilate was talking to Jesus, and he said, don't you know that I have the power to save your life or kill you? He said, you don't have any power at all except for what my Father give you. I can pray and get 12 legions of angels right now. He said, but if this was my kingdom, my servant would fight. But people have taken Jesus and made him such a powder puff to fight, kill, don't fit with him. Well, I'll tell you something. You finna get your education today. So it brought forth a man-child, and what happened to this man-child?
And her child was caught up into God and to his throne.
And where is Jesus sitting right now? On the right hand of the Father. But people don't pay no attention. It was his intention. And the Lord had the angel tell John that this man-child is to rule all nations with the rod of iron. When you rule somebody with the rod of iron, that means you takes no mess, sister and brother. Right. Your head in the wrong place, it get bashed. It's all that simple. Now let's go into Micah, the 5th chapter. Because we're going to put our hand on this guy. Because people simply don't understand who Jesus is. So if you can't understand who he is and his longevity, then how is it you're going to understand anything else, sisters and brothers? Micah chapter 5. That's why I tell people all the time, when you invite somebody, you tell them to bring pen, paper, and patience. Because we're going to go to school. You're supposed to learn how to save yourself. And you can't learn how to save yourself if I'm just going to read you a verse and I'm going to talk to you for an hour and a half. My memory ain't that bad. I told you I forgot that I didn't even have my money in my pocket, so you know that I can't remember all this book. That's why we have to read, sisters and brothers. We have to read.
Yeah, we do.
Because you can get your notes and you can remember this. People have actually asked me, what did you teach last Sabbath day? And that was Monday. And I actually don't remember sometimes. That's why we got to read. That's why you got so many scriptures we go on to. Micah, the 5th chapter, and we're going to start reading at verse 1. Micah 5:1. Okay, go ahead.
Now gather thyself in troops, O daughter of troops. Ye have laid siege against us. They shall smite the judge of Israel with the rod upon the cheek.
Now we're going to find out who this guy is. Go ahead and read.
But thou, Bethlehem Ephratah, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah,
go ahead.
Yet out of thee shall he come forth, and to me that is to be ruler in Israel.
He said, and thou, Bethlehem Ephratah, though you be little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall he come forth unto me, who is to be ruler in Israel. Go ahead and read.
Whose going forth have been from of old, from everlasting.
So his going forth has been from old, from everlasting. That means this guy been around forever, don't it?
Yes, sir.
So let's go and put your marker here because we're coming back here.
Yes,
we just can't pass this up. We're going to go and see who this is, this judge of Israel that's been around, that's going to be smitten on the cheek, that's been around from everlasting. Let's go into Matthew, the 2nd chapter. This is how you find out about stuff. So one day you can stop using the word I believe and start using the word I know.
Yes,
right. Big difference, sisters and brothers. Big difference. Well, you know, I believe is a whole, immortality in God's good side of the kingdom on the lake of fire. That's a great big bet to place on I believe, isn't it?
Right.
I would think somebody would want to know, because whether you if you don't get it right, you're going to reap the proceeds that's appropriate for your behavior. God have a way of doing that. So he's going to reward every man according to his works. Matthew 2, and let's start at verse 1. Let's find out who it is that Micah wrote about. 2 and 1. Okay, go ahead.
Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judah, in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem.
There came wise men from the east to Jerusalem. 3 wise men from the east to Jerusalem. No, man, you didn't say 3?
No, sir.
I just wanted to make that note. Go ahead and read.
Saying, where is he that is born king of the Jews?
Where is he that's born my personal Savior?
No.
My God and light?
No.
Where is he that's born what?
King of the Jews.
King of the Jews. They were pretty wise because they knew exactly who they was talking about. Go ahead and read.
We have seen his star in the east, and I come to worship him. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him.
Go ahead.
And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Christ should be born.
See, when Herod heard it, he was troubled. Why? Because he was king of the Jews. This is Herod the Great. The Romans made him king over Judea.
Yeah, they did.
And when you read about Herod, you will understand why he tried to kill Jesus. Because Herod killed everybody that laid claim to his throne, or he thought laid claim. He killed he killed a mother-in-law, he killed a brother-in-law, he killed 2 sons, and one of his wives, because he thought they was trying to take over his throne. So quite naturally, when you have somebody saying, there comes somebody that's going to be king of the Jews, I'm going to kill them too. That's why you need to read a little history so you can understand why people behave the way they do. So, Herod inquired. He demanded that the Pharisees and the Sadducees, the scribes and the Pharisees would tell him. But you know why? Because he knew they knew. Go ahead and read.
5th verse. And they said unto him, in Bethlehem of Judea.
They say he's going to be born in Bethlehem of Judea. Go ahead and read.
For thus it is written by the prophet.
For thus it is written by the prophets. Go ahead.
And thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not the least among the princes of Judah, for out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel.
Ain't that what we just got through reading? But we know something else from reading this too. We don't have to read no more, but we know another thing. The one that came out of Bethlehem, Judea, was around before Bethlehem. Because he says who's going forth have been from old, from everlasting. So that tells you that Jesus was around before Bethlehem was brought into existence. But he's to be ruler in Israel. Now let's go back to Micah. I just want to make that little point so you'll know who we're talking about when you're reading this, sisters and brothers. You just want to read no word. Well, I wonder who is this talking. No, we're going to show you who he's talking about by reading it to you. Because ain't nothing wrong with reading if the Lord had it recorded. Verse 3. Verse 3. Okay, go ahead.
Therefore will he give them up until the time that she which travaileth had brought forth. Then the remnant of his brethren shall return unto the children of Israel.
So now Jesus is going to give them up until the time that this woman is supposed to bring forth the rest of her children. She brought forth one, which was Jesus. Most people don't know that Jesus is an Israelite. He is out of the tribe of Judah. He came through the tribe of Judah. So when the woman finished her coming to birth, that means the Lord is going to return to Israel. But don't nobody talk about that because everybody went spiritual on you. But still, everybody is physical.
Right.
That's what I can't understand. When we ain't worried about the physical stuff, we're going to get off in the spiritual thing. Don't you have to eat to live? That's physical, ain't it? You have to live in a house, don't you? If you're going somewhere, don't you have to drive an old physical car, catch your old physical bus, or old physical plane? In other words, sisters and brothers, let's stay within reason. Even when you know you can lock up my body, but you can't lock up my mind. But if you don't feed that body, that mind gonna die, ain't it? So he said, look, he gonna give them up because Jesus knew he had to come and die for the sins of the people. All the prophets said it. That's why they knew who this was talking about. They knew where he was gonna be born because they knew the prophecy. What is he gonna do? He gonna give them up until the time when the remnant of the brethren are supposed to be returned. Because people don't understand Israel as a nation will not be returned back to the land until Jesus get here. I don't care who said who. Prophecy said contrary. Verse 5, go ahead.
Verse 4.
Verse 4, brother, go ahead.
And he shall stand and feed in the strength of the Lord, and the majesty of the name of the Lord his God.
Go ahead.
And they shall abide. For now shall he be great unto the ends of the earth.
And I'm going to show you what it means when he said going to be great to the end for the ends of the earth. He ain't concerned about heaven, sisters and brothers. The earth is his thing. And look what he said. And skip down to verse 9 and go ahead.
Thine hand shall be lifted up upon thine adversaries, and all thine enemies shall be cut off.
Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass in that day, said the Lord, that I will cut off thy horses out of the midst of thee, and I will destroy thy chariots. And I will cut off the cities of thy land, and throw down all thy strongholds.
Now he's talking about the nation, sisters and brothers. Before Israel come, he's going to do this. And look what he said he's going to do. Skip down and read verse 15. Verse 15 and go ahead.
And I will execute vengeance and anger and fury upon the heathen, such as they have not heard.
Ain't that something? These are the nations, sisters and brothers. Everybody think Jesus is going to come and he's going to get in the clouds and he's going to rapture him a few off and going back. He's coming down and he's going to take this earth by force, sister.
Yes, sir.
He said, I'm going to execute vengeance on these nations. That's what heathen means. It don't mean some uncouth person. Heathen merely means nation, nation other than Israelite. I'm going to execute vengeance on these and fear upon these people such as they have never heard. Because the Lord is angry, sisters and brothers, because people are not paying no attention to his word. People have come up with their own doctrine. And people want to get away from the Lord. And the Lord see this. Let's back up to Psalms, the 2nd chapter. He see this, sisters and brothers. That nobody want to serve God. Everybody want to do their own thing. And they're actually thinking that they can get away from God. That's always marvel at that. How is it you can get away from God and you can't even keep yourself from getting old and dying? It's all that simple. And everything that God said you had to have to exist, you have it. He said he formed man out of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. People say, well, that's theory. Is it? I'll put a pillow over your mouth and your nose and cut off that breath. What's going to happen to that body? That's the whole thing. When I was in school, they used to teach you how to check a math or problem. If 1 and 1 is 2, if you want to check it, take 1 from 2 and you end up back with 1, right? I take that breath away from you, you become a dead soul and you end up back in the ground. Ain't that where everybody went? Yes, sir. Practicality, sisters and brothers. People don't deal with practicality in church no more. So people want to get away from the Lord. And look what the Lord think about this. 2 and 1, Psalm the 2nd chapter and verse 1. Go ahead.
Why do the heathen rage?
Why do the nation rage? Go ahead.
And the people imagine a vain thing.
It is vain. Go ahead.
The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together.
Go ahead.
Against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, Let us break their bands asunder.
Ain't that something? So the kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed. Do you know what anointed means? Christ. Our Messiah. That's why I tell people I can preach Jesus to you and I won't get beyond Malachi. Against his anointed, saying, go ahead and read.
Let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us.
Let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cord from us. Before we go any further, put your marker here, because we're going to come back here. I'm going to let you know that all of the servants of God know what's going on and know what the prophecy says. Let's go into Acts, the 4th chapter. Here in Acts, the 4th chapter, sisters and brothers, Peter and them had healed a man. And them Pharisees and Sadducees was forever fighting against them. That was the church in Israel at that time. Polluted, but still it was the church.
Right.
And they was fighting against them, sisters and brothers. And you'll find out here also that Israel, the Israelites, that's why I don't marvel at this modern day brother that knows, that find out he's an Israelite. All of a sudden he developed an immediate hatred for Jesus. But that ain't nothing new. Always been that way. So Peter them had healed this guy, and these people was upset because they healed this guy, because they did in the name of Jesus. Let's start at verse 13. Acts 4. And we're going to start reading at verse 13. Okay, go ahead.
Now when they saw the boldness of Peter and John and perceived that they were unlearned and ignorant men.
Ain't that some unlearned and ignorant men? Go ahead and read.
They marveled. And they took knowledge of them that they had been with Jesus.
Now they was unlearned and ignorant men, but they took knowledge that they had hung out with Jesus for 3.5 years. Go ahead and read.
And beholding the man which was healed standing with them, they could say nothing against it.
Now they done healed this guy. So how you going to say something? Everybody know that this guy had a problem, was sick. Right. Everybody know it. And he's standing right there, so how you going to say you know that miracle you did is a lie? Right. But you got your evidence standing next door to you. So they behold the man that was healed, so evidence was there. Go ahead and read.
But when they had commanded them to go aside out of the council, they conferred among themselves, saying, what shall we do to these men? For that indeed a notable miracle have been done by them is manifest to all them that dwell in Jerusalem, and we cannot deny it.
Ain't that something? So what can we do to these guys? You know, we here, and we can't deny it because everybody here is looking at this thing. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go tell you that this didn't happen?
Right.
But keep reading. Read right on through it. Go ahead.
But that it spread no further among the people. Let us straightly threaten them, that they speak henceforth to no man in this name.
Ain't that something? So to make sure that this name, which was the name of Jesus. That's what I tell these brothers that kick on Jesus. I said, you know, boy, you just like your forefathers and your father before them. Yep. But that it spread no further, let us threaten them.
Right.
And they threatened him. And they let him go. But what did the apostles think about it? What verse are we?
That was the end of 17.
Go ahead.
And they called them and commanded them not to speak at all, nor teach in the name of Jesus.
Ain't this, you know, don't you know this is nowadays going on?
Yes, sir.
I mean, this brother called me from California pretty often. That, you know, that caught up to us. You know, I talk to anybody. If I don't have nothing to do, I'll do some book with you. I'm one of them preachers. I'll do some Bible with you anytime if I ain't busy. And one day he called and said, look here, man, I want to know about this Jesus. I said, you've been talking about Israel to Israelites, haven't you? Yeah. I said, I can tell from your behavior. When he opened his mouth. This is something been going on for all time. And they threatened him. And a couple of times they beat him. But we ain't concerned with that. Let's skip down to verse 23 and see what happened. Verse 23. Go ahead.
And being let go, they went to their own company and reported all that the chief priests and elders had said unto them. And when they heard that, they lifted up their voice to God with one accord and said, Lord, thou art God, which hath made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is.
Go ahead.
Who by the mouth of thy servant David has said, why did the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing?
See, the Lord wasn't talking about then. It was talking about from there clean into the future.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and read.
The kings of the earth stood up, and the rulers gathered together against the Lord and against his Christ.
Psalms are against his anointed.
Right.
But we know that anointed one means Christ.
Yes, sir.
So he said, why is it that the heathen imagine this vain thing that they're going to break away from us? And so now they're doing it to us. Verse 27. Go ahead.
For the truth against thy holy child Jesus, whom thou hast anointed, both Herod and Pontius Pilate, with the Gentiles and the people of Israel, were gathered together.
All of them are gathered together against Jesus, sisters and brothers. Israel hate the name, and the Gentiles and other strangers lie on the name. Mm-hmm. But all of them want to do their own thing, sisters and brothers. That's why when you get people come and say, well, you know, I'm a Pentecostal, I'm a Baptist, I'm a Methodist. Right. I said, where do you go and find me one of these denominations in the Bible?
Come on now, say it.
It's not there.
Not there.
You understand?
No,
I'm a Jehovah's Witness. The only one that the Bible said was Jehovah's Witness was Israel. He said, you are my witnesses.
Yes, sir.
And he proved it. That's why when Pharaoh had a dream and didn't know what it was, he had to go to Joseph the Israelite. Nebuchadnezzar had a dream that he couldn't interpret. He had to go to Daniel the Israelite. Herod, we just read, when he wanted to know where Jesus was going to be born, who did he go to? The witness, the Israelite. That's Jehovah's real witness, because Jesus was Jehovah before he was Jesus. So now we see what he said here. Said, they all are kicking, and let us break away from them, because we don't want to do that thing that God wants us to do. We don't want to keep the law. We don't want to stop eating pork. I was raised on pork. Brother, sister, for some hot peppers and some chitlins, I would run a mile. Until I read in the dietary law. People bring all kind of excuses to me about, pork ain't good for you. I said, I don't even go there. Only reason I stopped eating pork is because the Lord said, thou shalt not, in the dietary law.
Right.
Not that I don't like it. I go by this barbecue place up there. Sometimes I feel like I better look away. That aroma hit me. But the law is the law. It's all that simple. So let's go back to Acts, sister and brother. Now we know who. I'm back to Psalms now. Back to Psalm, the 2nd chapter. You should have a marker there. So now we know, sisters and brothers, who the nation said they're going to pull away from. God, which is the Father, and his anointed, which is Jesus Christ. See, this is how you find out about things, sisters and brothers. And I mean, this man have changed everything. That's why I tell people, when you invite people, tell them to bring their own Bible. Because I don't want them looking at the one they get from us, trying to figure out what kind of book is this. But when you bring your own Bible, you know, well, this is mine now. Verse 4. We're going to start at verse 4. That's where we left off at. Go ahead and read.
He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. The Lord shall have them in derision.
Is he going to laugh and he going to have them in derision? The Lord going to laugh at this foolish man. Go ahead and read.
Then shall he speak to them in his wrath and vex them in his sore displeasure.
Ain't that something? Then he going to speak to them in his wrath, and he is going to vex them in his sore displeasure. People don't understand that there's a time for everything.
Yes, sir.
Solomon told you there's a time for everything.
Yep.
Don't think that you getting away. You just getting by until the time comes. What does the Lord say? Go ahead and read.
Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion.
What king is that? Jesus. Sister and brother. Where is Zion in Jerusalem? And look what the king said. Go ahead and read.
I will declare the decree. The Lord hath said unto me,
go ahead.
Thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee.
He said, look, the Lord has said unto me, thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee. And we will show you in other lessons when Jesus became the Son of God. He was not the Son of God in the beginning. But he became. But we'll show you that in another lesson. Can't teach you everything at one time. He said, but the Lord has said and declared unto me, thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee. Go ahead and read.
As of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance.
Go ahead.
And the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession.
Now, if he going to give them the nations and all the earth for his possession, that means that it's going to belong to him, man. And what's he going to do? Go ahead and read.
Thou shalt break them with the rod of iron.
Didn't in Revelation say a man-child was born, which was to rule the earth with the rod of iron?
Yep.
Everybody that has some understanding know who Jesus is.
Yes, sir.
That's why the book talking about fear the Lord. Fear the Lord. Well, I don't want to fear God. I said, well, that means you don't know him.
Right.
That's why I said the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Because you have found out who you're dealing with. The same Jesus. You know who Jesus is? He's the guy that drowned the whole world and saved only 8 people. You don't fear this guy? That means you don't know nobody.
Right.
Go ahead and read.
Middle of 9. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. Be wise now, therefore, ye kings. Be instructed, ye judges of the earth.
Go ahead.
Serve the Lord with fear and rejoice with trembling.
He said, be wise and serve with fear and rejoice and trembling. Go ahead and read.
Kiss the Son.
Kiss the Son.
Lest he be angry and ye perish from the way when his wrath is kindled but a little.
Hey, wait a minute. So you better kiss him. Lest he get mad and you perish when his anger is kindled but a little. What if you get real mad? That's what you got to think about. Finish that.
Blessed are all they that put their trust in him.
Blessed are all they that put their trust in him. So I'm going to show you what Jesus said he's going to do, sisters and brothers. Let's go to the 118th chapter of Psalm. Psalm 118th Psalm. Because these are here for you to find out who you're dealing with so you don't mess with this guy. And what he promised you, that's the way it's going to be. 118th chapter, Psalm 118. And we're going to start at verse 10. 118 and verse 10. 118 and verse 10. Okay, go ahead.
All nations compass me about, but in the name of the Lord will I destroy them.
This is Jesus talking, sisters and brothers. They ain't talking David here.
Right.
All nations shall compass me, going to surround me, But in the name of the Lord, I will destroy them. Go ahead and read.
They could pass me about. Yeah, they could pass me about. But in the name of the Lord, I will destroy them.
Maybe he's trying to give you a message. Go ahead and read.
They compass me about like bees. They are quenched as the fire of thorns. For in the name of the Lord, I will destroy them.
This is Jesus talking, sister and brother. This is not David. You need to know what's on this guy's mind. Because he got the Father to help him even when he came in the flesh. He helped him. Go ahead and read the next verse.
Thou hast thrust sore at me that I might fall, but the Lord helped me.
See, the people tried to cut him off. You understand? But they didn't understand he had to die. They thought they had a victory when they crucified. That wasn't no victory. That was just the first lap of the race he had to run to get salvation. Right. Now skip down to verse 22. Verse 22. Because he is the one that everybody has rejected, sisters and brothers. Everybody. But he said, I'm going to destroy you. Yep. Verse 22. Go ahead.
The stone which the builders refused has become the headstone of the corner.
Ain't that something? The headstone of the corner, read.
This is the Lord's doing. It is marvelous in our eyes.
Now, I'm going to show you exactly who this is talking about. So, the brother interpret. We don't do interpretation. Right. I tell you, I can't interpret the mind of a being that created the air that I breathe every day, and I ain't never seen it one time. The only reason I know what it is because he had it written. This is air you breathe. Let's go into Matthew, the 21st chapter. Matthew chapter 21. Let's be realistic, sisters and brothers. People going to find out that the word of God is not a fairy tale. All this stuff that he said going to do to you, he going to do to you.
He going to do it.
See, because everybody rejects Jesus. Don't nobody want him to rule over them. But you're going to deal with this guy. He's going to throw a parable in here. Let's start at verse 33. Matthew, the 21st chapter, we're going to start at verse 33. Because the sad thing about it, sisters and brothers, I say all the time, people be in church all their life, and the people are sincere. When I was younger, I used to be angry at people. They go and sit in that church and ain't learning nothing. They just dumb. No, they went looking for salvation, but it's the preacher that put the wrong thing on the plate.
That's right, brother.
Then I said, wait a minute. You're getting all these people that go to church by the thousand, pay all these tithes and offerings. I mean, the church is a humongous industry. You're not going to spend all this kind of money and time if you're not looking for something that you think you need. So the people are looking. The problem is the one that is supposed to give it to them is not putting it on the table.
Right.
Sooner or later, it had to happen, sisters and brothers, in every generation. Verse 33, go ahead.
Here another parable. There was a certain householder which planted a vineyard and hedged it round about, and digged a winepress in it, and built a tower, and let it out to husbandmen, and went into a far country.
Go ahead.
And when the time of the fruit drew near, he sent his servants to the husbandmen that they might receive the fruits of it.
Now this householder, this is Jesus, sisters and brothers. So now he went to a far country. Where did he go? Didn't he say he had went back to heaven, sent out the right hand of the Father? Mm-hmm. So at the time he sent his farmers, or one that's supposed to reap the harvest, sent his servant to the farmers to get his part of the portion. What did they do? Go ahead and read.
And the husbandman took his servants and beat one, and killed another, and stoned another.
So I took his servant. Because Jesus is the only one that we ever dealt with. When I say Jesus, I want you all to understand me, sister and brother. Didn't we read in Micah that he was from old, from everlasting? So now, the one that he sent was himself, because the Father told him to go. So now, but before he came here, he sent his prophets. What they do with his prophets? They beat him, and they stone him. Go ahead and read.
Again, he sent other servants more than the first, and they did unto them likewise.
Now, he said the same thing. When he sent, no matter who he sent, they did the same thing, sisters and brothers. Because this is before Jesus came the first time. Go ahead and read.
But last of all, he sent it to them his son, saying, they will reverence my son.
So here comes Jesus now. He said, they're going to surely reverence my son. That's the Father said. Tell these people. They said, these people are going to reverence you. But we know better. Go ahead and read.
But when the husbandmen saw the son, they said among themselves, this is the heir. Come, let us kill him, and let us seize on his inheritance.
Ain't that something? We're going to kill him, and we're going to seize upon inheritance. So that's for, ain't no church called the Church of the Firstborn no more. This is Pastor so-and-so church. This is Bishop so-and-so church. Then you can come up with your own denomination.
Yep.
Why? Because this is mine now. I have taken it by force. I'm going to seize upon his inheritance.
Yep.
And that's what's going on right now. Yep. Go ahead and read.
They caught him and cast him out of the vineyard and slew him.
Uh-huh.
And the Lord therefore of the vineyard cometh. What will he do unto those husbandmen?
He said, now they caught him and they killed him. So when the Lord of the vineyard comes, what's he going to do to them farmers? Go ahead and read.
They said to him, he will miserably destroy those wicked men, and will let out his vineyard into other husbandmen, which shall render him the fruits of their season.
He said, look, he's going to destroy them. And we're going to show you the other husbandmen that's going to render this. Nobody are the saints, sister and brother, that he's going to get in the first resurrection. But let's see who this is that he's talking about. Go ahead and read.
Jesus said unto them, Did ye never read in the scripture,
Go ahead.
The stone which the builders rejected, the same has become the head of the corner?
So didn't y'all read in Psalm that the stone that the builders rejected, which is me, have become the head of the corner? I'm going to tell you about this stone. Go ahead and read.
This is the Lord's doing, and it is marvelous in our eyes.
Didn't we read that? Go ahead and read.
Therefore say I unto you, the kingdom of God shall be taken from you, and given to a nation bringing forth the fruits thereof.
And we're going to show you those, but go ahead and read.
And whoever shall fall on this stone,
and whoever shall fall on this stone, go ahead and read,
shall be broken.
Shall be broken, go ahead.
But on whomsoever it shall fall, it will grind him to powder.
But on whomsoever this stone shall fall, are going to be ground to powder. Because he told you, I'm going, in the name of the Lord, I am going to destroy you. All the nations that refuse to come in line, I am going to destroy you. He said it over and over and over again. So he came to die the first time because he's a sin offering. But the next time he came, you going to die if you ain't right. And there's going to be some living people when the Lord come here. People think that ain't nobody, when Jesus come, ain't nothing happen. That's what I got an old blues record. Everybody want to go to heaven, but don't nobody want to die. It's going to be some living people when God comes, sister and brother. Now let's pursue this a little bit. Let's go into the 45th chapter of Psalm, because he said, look, the stone which the builder rejected have become the head cornerstone, and anybody that falls on this stone will be broken, and whomsoever this stone fall on will be grounded to powder. That means he's going to destroy you down to the ground. But don't nobody read this kind of stuff, sister and brother, because this is scary stuff. You know, crocodiles are scary. Boa constrictors are scary. Lions and tigers are scary, but that don't mean they don't exist. So in order for you to protect yourself from them is to find out what they are so you don't end up there. Knowledge, sisters and brothers. That's what you have to have. Knowledge is what delivers you in all things. There ain't nothing you can do if you knew how. That's why the Lord drove the man out of the Garden of Eden. He said, unless he put forth his hand and eat of the tree of life and live forever. He's not talking about grabbing a tree and biting an apple. He's talking about eating knowledge. You can live forever if you knew how. Right. But he said, I'm going to make sure you don't find out how. And he drove us out of the garden. Yeah. Knowledge. People don't understand the power of knowledge. But the Lord said, this stone, if it falls on you, you will be ground to powder. Who is this stone? We showed it. That's Jesus, don't we? 45 and 1. Psalms 45 and 1. Go ahead and read.
My heart is igniting a good matter.
My heart is inditing a good matter. Go ahead and read.
I speak of the things which I have made, touching the king. My tongue is the pen of a ready writer.
Go ahead.
Thou art fairer than the children of men. Grace is poured into thy lips. Therefore God hath blessed thee forever.
Now, this ain't talking about King David here. This is the one that the wise men asked about, King of the Jews, which is also going to be king of the whole world. We're going to show you that, but go ahead and read.
Gird thy sword upon thy thigh, O most mighty, with thy glory and thy majesty.
Go ahead.
And in thy majesty ride prosperously because of thy truth, and meekness and righteousness.
Go ahead.
And thy right hand shall teach thee terrible things.
Now he put his sword on his thigh. You don't wear no sword to come and plead with nobody like, will you please listen to me, please? When you come in with the sword, that represents the pistol in our day. And he called him most mighty. He said, ride prosperous. Because he's going to come against those that are against him. Go ahead and read. What verse?
Verse 5. Thine arrows are sharp in the heart of the king's enemies, whereby the people fall under thee.
Yes, sir. Go ahead and read.
Thy throne, O God, is forever and ever. The scepter of thy kingdom is a right scepter.
He said, look, the people going to fall under you. Your throne, O God, is forever and ever, and your scepter is a right scepter. Go ahead and read.
Thy lovest righteousness and hateth wickedness.
Thy lovest righteousness and hated wickedness. This is something you might lay to mind. Go ahead and read.
Therefore God, thy God, have anointed thee with the oil of gladness above thy fellows.
Therefore God, thy God, have anointed thee with the oil of gladness above thy fellows. Read down and see what he's going to do with his name. Skip down to verse 17. Verse 17, and go ahead.
I will make thy name to be remembered in all generations. Therefore shall the people praise thee forever and ever.
Look, this God that God called God, he said, I'm going to make your name to be known in all generations. And everybody going to praise your name. But brother boy, who is that? Let's let Hebrews tell us. Let's go into Hebrews, the 1st chapter. See, because you got to know who you're dealing with. Then when he make you a promise, you know that he going to give it to you.
Right.
See, that's a good thing with me. That's why I can serve this God, sister and brother. I can discipline myself. And I do mean discipline myself. I say all the time, I don't do the right thing because I'm a good person. I do the right thing because I'm scared of God. It's all that simple. If I told you anything else, I'd be lying to you. Every time I start thinking stupid, I think about, wait a minute. What if I don't get to repent? I died my folly. I know better, so I know where I'm going. Some people might have a chance because of ignorance. But me, I'm 2 foot down the road now. I can't turn around. I got to finish this thing. I'm dead. You know. Now, you know how it is. You know, the women don't know about this, but the brother know. You done got paid and got into a crap game. You done lost your whole check but $10. Ain't no need to quit now. You got to get it all back or bust. Because this woman going to be all over you when you get home. So the whole thing here, sisters and brothers, I can't quit. I'm 2 foot down the road now. I got to finish this thing. Hebrews, the 1st chapter, we're going to start at verse 6. Hebrews 1 and 6. Hebrews 1 and 6. Okay, go ahead.
And again, when he bringeth in the first begotten into the world, he saith, and let all the angels of God worship him. And the angels, he saith, who maketh his angels spirits and his ministers a flame of fire.
Go ahead.
But unto the Son, he said.
But unto the Son, he said. Go ahead.
Thy throne, O God, is forever and ever. A scepter of righteousness is the scepter of thy kingdom.
We just read that, didn't we? Go ahead and read.
Thou hast loved righteousness and hated iniquity. Therefore God, even thy God, have anointed thee with the oil of gladness above thy fellows.
Oh, so Jesus is God, huh?
Yep.
He was God, then he became man. That's why Isaiah the 7th chapter told you, a virgin shall conceive, and they shall call his name Emmanuel. And when the virgin could conceive, they called his name Emmanuel. Why not Jesus? Because the name this time had a different meaning. God is with us. Because he was God that became man. So now, therefore, God, thy God, have anointed thee with the gladness above thy fellows. People tell me, well, Jesus ain't God. God called him God. Right. If God called him God, then who is he? What is he? But then people don't understand the creation. They don't know what God is doing, sister and brother. Because if you have some understanding, okay, now that's in line with everything that God intended to do.
I invite you to join us on the Sabbath Day Live via the internet. Log on to our website, which is www.theisraelofgod.com. Click on the link Sabbath Day Live on our homepage. You will need Windows Media Player to view our program. We stream live twice every Sabbath at 10 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. Central Time. If you enjoy our program, we would appreciate your donations to help defer the cost of continuing this work. Send donations to the Israel of God, 2515 East 75th Street, Chicago, Illinois, 60649. Also, if you're in the Chicago area, please feel free to join us at our study class located at 2515 East 75th Street here in Chicago.